Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the video. In this video, we'll be talking all things spoilers for Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 3. So you heard that right, Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 3 just finished premiering on the CW. And in this video, I'm giving you guys all my spoiler thoughts as well as a spoiler review. We're going to, if you guys are new in here and you enjoy all of the superhero and movie content on the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss any time I up a new video or I go live. But without wasting any more time, let's get into it. So this episode was pretty jam-packed, and I definitely say that it was an improvement over last week's episode, but I still think that episode 1 holds up in terms of being the best episode of this season overall. And again, there will be massive spoilers for this episode, so if you haven't seen already, like this video and come back to it. So the biggest reveal of this entire episode was Doomsday finally coming out of the cave, and that's basically what this entire episode and most of last episode was about, was trying to find out what's under this cave, what's causing Clark to basically have these visions and feel all these different things. And my favorite part of this episode, and the reason I like this episode so much primarily, is because of the fact that it feels like Clark Kent is more human than he is Superman, I guess. And that's something we really never get to see. We kind of get the like mythological version of that in Man of Steel, but in all reality, we've never truly seen a human version of Superman fighting human battles. And this kind of like, not mental health crisis, but the physical pain that comes with all these visions gives us the closest thing to that we've ever seen. And at first, I didn't really think the visions were that cool. I thought the visuals were just too hectic and stuff. But actually in this episode, I thought it was done the best. You could see his temple was glowing really like orange, and you could actually feel the tension. And maybe it was also the score and the sound design in those moments. But for example, there's this part in this episode where Lois and Clark are basically having a super intimate moment talking about the mistakes that they've made in the beginning of this episode and stuff like that. And it's very deep. It's a great representation of Lois and Clark's relationship. And then he has this vision, and that's when Doomsday breaks out and Superman leaves. And just that one part of the episode alone really just encapsulates the entire like part of this season, which is Superman is fighting his own mental health battle, and even physically he couldn't fight Doomsday. Even John Henry Irons had to come in, help Superman, and Doomsday still got away. But the biggest part of this episode was obviously the reveal that Doomsday was just an evil, I'm just gonna call him a variant because that's what we call it in the MCU. It's technically just an alternate version. Actually, I'm gonna call it an evil doppelganger. I think variant's too MCU for what this show is, but basically we get to see an evil doppelganger of Clark, and he's the one that's underneath the Doomsday suit, and we see more of that at the end of the episode, but I'll talk about that later in this video. Quickly, I want to mention all the other characters that had pretty good development in this episode. For example, Jordan, he's the blonde hair kid, I think, not the brown one. No, I keep mixing their names up. But with that being said, Jordan, the football player one, actually pretty good in this episode, and I like the subplot. I don't really understand the complaint that people have with this show, talking about, oh, the subplots with different characters aren't interesting. I think for the amount of time that Jordan and Jonathan have on screen, especially Jordan, they make him really, really interesting of a character. For example, his girlfriend's the drug dealer. She deals the starting football player, quarterback. She deals him the drugs to make him better than Jordan. That's such an interesting storyline in my opinion, especially, again, for the little amount of screen time that Jordan gets. His character is pretty entertaining. Jordan and Sarah's storyline is another thing I want to talk about because I think it's very interesting the way that they've played all of this out. I actually do like it a lot, and I like that Sarah's character is a lot different than any love interest that I would have thought would be in this show. And I think that this dynamic of Jordan actually trying to find out what to do in this situation, actually contemplating for it for a while. And honestly, I had doubts in my mind that he would get back together with Sarah. I thought that maybe he wouldn't get back with her, and then Sarah would maybe get pissed off at him, and then there'd be some like high school beef stuff going on. Like, that would have been cool to see because so far they've executed all the high school stuff really well. But I also do like the ending of this episode a lot, and that's one of my favorite parts of this episode as a whole, is the way that they cut through these different sequences. Obviously, in the very beginning, we see Jordan and Sarah basically make amends, and Jordan gets back together with Sarah, giving her his grandma's necklace that his grandpa gave to his grandma when they were in high school and they fell in love and stuff like that, and that's pretty sweet. And then we see the Jonathan storyline where he goes up to his girlfriend and basically says, give me the drugs that you gave this dude, and that's very interesting. I'm excited to see where that goes, especially with Clark Kent basically already being pissed at every single little thing that's happening. I want to see his reaction to all of this. But this is where we get to my least favorite part of the episode, and honestly this last episode and this episode combined, which is Lois's story. Now, I don't have many complaints about this show, but Lois's storyline in last episode and this episode is one thing that I could complain about all day. And the only reason I can complain about it a lot is because the first season and the first episode of this season, her character was literally perfect. She had trauma, grief, happiness. She had all the care in the world. But at this point, like the family stuff, Lucy, I think her name is, her sister, she needs to meet up with her. She's getting canceled for something that she did a long time ago. Like, it just seems like they're trying to make her character the one that's kind of relatable, I guess, in this day and age, which is cool, I guess. Like, it's not a bad story. It's just really bad compared to the one that we had before, because I really liked the one that we had before. It still feels like they're playing this trauma game with Lois, where it's like she always has something in her past that's coming back to haunt her. And that's a good idea for a character that can basically never catch a break. She always has to deal with her family and then her personal stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's a great dynamic to have within a story, but this story choice specifically about her family and basically spending all this time just setting up her family drama, I don't really like that. I would rather just have the internal Kent family drama and then base all of Lois's trauma stories off of that, like they did in season 1. But yeah, guys, that's basically all my thoughts on Superman and Lois season 2 episode 3. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.